Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone, depending on where you are in the world. My name's Bernard Taliaferro. I'm the Vice President of Global Channels here at Rajant, and I'd like to welcome you to Rajant's webinar to introduce a brand new product that we're calling LTE Enhance. Before we jump into that, let me cover some housekeeping topics really quick. So, first off, the webinar is being recorded and we will archive it and have it posted on our various pages, allowing you and others to view it later. Second thing I wanted to touch on is that everyone is muted except for our presenters. But rest assured, your questions are very important to us. So we'd really appreciate seeing your smiling faces. I know it's early in the morning for some of you, so you might not be smiling, but we think that the information that we're going to share will open your eyes a bit wider, and you'll see an opportunity to grow your business with us with these products. So we want to make this as interactive as we can. So if you've got questions, please type them in the chat box. You can locate the chat box by going down to the bottom of the screen. You'll see a dashboard down there, and you can just click chat. Um, Type your questions in there, and then we will have some moments where we will just focus on questions either after particular slides or at the end of the presentation. But we're going to do our best to get through all of the questions. If the question is more technical than one of us that are on the presentation tonight can answer, we will document that, and we are going to send the answers to all of the questions out to everyone that's in attendance. I think that covers housekeeping. Oh, there is one other thing. There is also a raise your hand option if someone wants to just raise their hand to make known that they want to ask a question at any time. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our speaker for this webinar. Our main presenter is Rajant's product manager, Andrew Martin. Andrew has a background in industrial engineering as well as an MBA. He's worked with several different industrial verticals, and he's been Rajant's product manager since 2022. He's currently overseeing our current catalog of products as well as the development of future Rajant offerings. So without further ado, allow me to introduce some of you to, or uh, welcome some of you to have an opportunity to hear from Andrew right now. So Andrew, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Bernard. Uh, right. So, hi, everybody. Thank you for joining this session today. I'm Andrew Martin, Director of Product Management here at Rajant. Uh, Today, I am thrilled to unveil a major addition to our product portfolio. This is Rajant's LTE Enhance. It's an industrial-grade LTE modem, and it's designed to elevate the performance and adaptability of both our kinetic mesh networks as well as private LTE networks. And so here's the agenda I'm going to go through. I'll be talking about the problem statements about why we've built and launched the LTE Enhance. I'll go through some of the key features about it. I'll talk about just a few of the deployment scenarios that may be applicable. I'll show a couple of the technical specs for it. And then I'll go through a summary of the benefits and particularly some of the value that we think come from using this product in our setup. And then I'll finish with some more question and answers if I don't answer your questions throughout I guess, the discussion here. So I guess let's start with the why. As we've been listening to the market, they are telling us about integrations with additional networks, and we're going to keep working to be a part of that. Our roadmap is focused on how Rajant connects with and enhances complementary networks, This product really is another milestone on that path. I probably talked to some of you in the past about our roadmap, and there are several additional products that we have that are coming down after this one for additional connectivity in the similar vein. But now for some specifics about the current challenges. Uh, so yes, LTE, it does need more flexibility to expand to reach new or changing topology. Uh, like you can see in the diagram below, or here you can see that the LTE setup, it can't reach deep equipment or assets that are beyond the next mountain. Uh, Also, LTE does need more upload capacity. For some of the larger networks, some of the high bandwidth applications like high resolution video, we've we've seen that some of the LTE networks that are out there, they do create caps at 10 or 20 megabits per second for the upload capacity from the clients. Uh, but also Instamesh, it does need more options for backhauling the data. This is to reduce congestion. On the diagram above, you can see as the mesh links, they need to be supported by, I guess, offload points. And you can see in the top left, if it's a large network only supported by a few offload points, congestion can occur at those APT points. So that's a couple of reasons here why this LTE Enhance bridges private LTE infrastructure with our proven kinetic mesh technology. And I'll show you how it works in the coming pages. So here is what LTE Enhance brings to the table. Enhanced throughput. It offloads data off the mesh to LTE, relieving congestion. Dynamic path optimization, where Instamesh finds the most efficient path, whether it be LTE or mesh. Resilient or reliable failover, and seamlessly switching between LTE and mesh networking during blockages or outages. And then low latency, so ideal for real-time operations like autonomous vehicles or surveillance. Centralized control, so that you can use BC Commander to manage LTE plus the mesh from one interface. And then scalable and rugged. Uh, this is deployable on vehicles, equipment, or fixed infrastructure, and it's all to be working in the harshest environments. Really what Rajant likes to do all the time, every day. There we go. So here's a diagram. This kind of describes the combined network. And I think my mouse is actually working a little bit here. So let me just, I'm going to try this differently than I did before. So let's see if this works. So you can see on the left, oh, that did. You can see on the left, this is the Rajant network. It's meshing with each breadcrumb. It's sending the data to the APT master and then to the application. In addition, any of the breadcrumbs with LTE Enhance are acting as additional backhaul. And there we go, in red. Um, those, when they connect to any of the LTE towers, they connect to offload data to the LAN network and then to the APT master and beyond. So this has the effect of keeping Instamesh network free of congestion in crowded networks. And in addition, it's going to have the overall network where it can expand into areas where Rajant network can be mobile without needing to install additional LTE towers that are fixed. Um, Something to note, the LTE Enhance module, you can see here, I just keep on drawing. uh, so you can see here that the LTE Enhance module is paired with a breadcrumb, something like a hawk or a sparrow. Uh, they don't work independently like a CPE modem. So they will work with the breadcrumb. They'll send data over an RPT link to a slipstream as the APT master and then to destination for the application. So just to give you an idea about how it kind of works for the networking. These simple diagrams might not be the easiest thing to describe the networks that you put together. I'm going to move around here. Oh, here you go. So to show just a couple of the deployment scenarios, uh, there are several scenarios, and this is just a example list. It's definitely not all inclusive. Uh, but my drawing stayed. Mm, okay. Okay. So the first one, mines or remote sites, they need to expand beyond LTE coverage without additional towers. uh, they will utilize the mesh network to as a LTE coverage drops and the mesh network can pick up. Next, supporting mobile nodes on vehicles for location tracking or connecting to client devices around the vehicle. And as the Instamesh coverage becomes thin, then the LTE links can support the application. Uh, Next, thinking about with like ports, uh, they need to ensure network uptime from mission critical or teleremote operations, and they'll use this to ensure the application reliability regardless of a single network outage, either the something on the LTE side or something on the mesh side. Uh, Next is reducing the fixed LTE infrastructure. So if sites are looking to expand in yards, um, I guess when we're talking about the InstaMesh will cover the expansion areas where the LTE can't reach, and you wouldn't be needing all the extra LTE infrastructure to go there, go to those areas. And then similarly, the last one is talking about temporary or shifting operations at construction sites where, let's say, certain infrastructure needs to be moved every few weeks, and that's something that wouldn't be necessary as the Rajant setup is mobile and the infrastructure, if it's Rajant infrastructure, is easy to move. And then here, it's a quick snapshot of some of the technical highlights. Uh, you can also download a full list of the specs from our website. We do have that posted now. Uh, at the top there, you can see some of the supported bands. It's a fairly inclusive list. The data rates, you can see it's Cat 12 for the uplink. I'm sorry, for the downlink, Cat 13 for the uplink. Um, that Cat 13 will give up to 150 megabits per second. But I guess, like I said earlier, that does depend on the LTE network setup, and some of the network setups will govern how much capacity you can put through any given client device. Uh, the antennas. So this is set up with two antennas as a 2x2 MIMO, and that's supported with two type N connectors on the side of the device. Uh, I guess over on the physical side of things, um, the size of it, this is a about 100 by 150 millimeters. Uh, it's it's built to be industrial grade. It's built to be radiant rugged, and that means that it's set up for IP67 waterproofing. Uh, in addition, the temperature is rated for down to -40 and up to +70 Celsius. Uh, while I'm thinking about the specs, I actually have the device here. Um, some of the other things that I have on the electrical side. Uh, so with the device, we have, I guess on the top, you can see these are the two antenna ports, these are the two N connector ports. Uh, on this side, I guess you just describe it as that. I mean, I guess that's my left side. Um, so that is a port for USB. Uh, the communications for this is communicating to the breadcrumb with USB, and this is an M12 connector. It's a code, and that's the connection between the breadcrumb and this LTE device. Um, and then on the bottom, this is two of the Ethernet. These are M12 Xcode Ethernet, and this is for powering the device. Uh, so there's actually a note on the front here. One's power in and one's power out. Uh, if you are looking to use a single PoE device, you can use a single PoE device to power this, and then this will pass power over to the also to the breadcrumb. Um, and then finally on the far side here, this is a SIM card. So this is a SIM card slot to put in the SIM cards that are relevant for the LTE network that you're setting up. Uh, so those have been some questions that have been asked more recently, and so I just wanted to kind of cover with like here's a physical device, and here's what all the different connectors and so on go to. And again, you can get all these specs in the spec sheet and some of there's a user guide that comes with the device. There's general setup instructions. It's built into all the configuration in BC Commander. Uh, as I go, I guess that's probably the bit I want to talk about for the technical side. And then on this one, I wanted to talk about a bit of detail about the benefits and some of the value that we have. Um, so I want to dig into the value that the solution has. So let's talk dollars and cents. Uh, the first one here, enhancing Rajant network performance. So we're leveraging LTE towers as backhaul nodes. We're trying to reduce congestion on the mesh. And the value there is resulting in higher reliability and faster response time for these critical operations, uh, all driving to save time and increase productivity of the applications. So the focus is on making sure that those applications are as beneficial as possible. Uh, the second, optimizing existing LTE networks. So now I'm talking about dynamic traffic being distributed easily and efficiently, whether it's, I guess, the LTE bandwidth or the mesh bandwidth. And so before the solution, with just an LTE core and CPE equipment, each CPE would have a cap on upload throughput. That's something I've been mentioning a little bit today. But after the solution, now you combine LTE with the Radiant Mesh network, and the upload throughput can be distributed across several breadcrumbs with the LTE Enhance. And in addition, it's also routed directly through the mesh to the LAN when you have your traditional APT drop points. Um, so the value I'm highlighting here is that you really are able to maximize the value or the investment in the LTE infrastructure and reducing CapEx costs for installing additional or increasing your LTE infrastructure. Um, Third is improving the LTE for flexible deployment scenarios. Um, Adding the mesh capability to LTE, it allows the network to adapt to changing physical shape and in the network area, whether it's network geography expanding or the topology changing. So before this solution with just LTE, uh, there would be extensive engineering work to move or add an LTE tower. After this solution, LTE with mesh will allow the network to adapt automatically, and the region network will allow the just adapting to geography or topology changes, such as a mountain being removed, a container stack being created, or a wall being installed. Uh, and so the value here is making make this for temporary or regularly changing installations, and you want to be able to reduce the setup time and also again save on the infrastructure costs to allow you to be more scalable more quickly. The fourth one, improving the reliability of the network. So we are meshing over a dual network. It's LTE, we're meshing over that, and also over the Radiant InstaMesh network. And it's being done in parallel. So what we're able to do now is reduce downtime, ensuring that we have nonstop operations. Customers are looking for the ability to run their applications and their operations without the potential for losing comms and shutting down an operation. So that in itself is the idea about preventing revenue loss if you have a communication failure. Fifth is simplified network management. And we are managing the LTE equipment here, all the LTE Enhance, as well as all the traditional Ragent breadcrumbs. We're managing it through BC Commander. It's saving time and reducing training cost. And instead of having off-the-shelf LTE modems, this is all, those will be managed separately. This is all streamlined. The training is streamlined. We're improving staff efficiency and we're freeing up resources for other priorities. Uh, the last one here is last, but I would say definitely not least. I really want to just say this one twice if necessary, but I won't. Um, so enhancing the functionality of a wide variety of Ragent breadcrumbs. And with this new functionality, you can add LTE to new or existing breadcrumbs. We're talking like the Hawks and Sparrows, ES1s, but also the ME4s and the LX5s as legacy products. So now you're able to, I guess, improve networks with a great upgrade and not necessarily design a full new set of breadcrumbs and not having to purchase all new equipment when you can add this to give new life to your existing equipment. And I think that's most of the content I was going to go through. But I did kind of go through it a little quickly, but I want to see how there any questions, thoughts that you guys have about what we talked about here.
Great job, Andrew. I'm looking at the chat and I've got a question here from Mario. Mario, do you want to come off of mute and voice your question?
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Look, mate, I appreciate that, but why don't we just use an LTE peregrine?
Yes. So the Peregrine LTE, we have two versions of that, and we'll continue to offer those. Um, I do see that as our premium product with three radios that mesh, and then the fourth radio is set up for, oh, well, three radios being on the Radiant mesh, and the fourth one being set up for LTE. Um, this is going to allow some more flexibility in the deployment where uh, if you pair it with a Hawk or a Sparrow, for instance, you can do it with a little less functionality. Those would have two radios that use the Radiant mesh, and then this would be the third radio for, I guess, the LTE side. So we're trying to bring this to just more the equipment and more the scenarios that I guess don't necessarily need all the horsepower of the Peregrine.
Okay. All right, understood. I've got a few more questions. Can I keep going?
I'd like that. Yeah, keep going.
All right, awesome. The LTE card that's in there, is it modular for future changes?
Um, the card itself isn't modular, but we are going to be circling back fairly soon after this with another version. It'll have 5G bands and additional 4G bands that come as part of it because it's backwards compatible. And so we are working on several products that will be following up after this.
Right. Okay. And my last one, uh, what type of PoE does it use? So you say it has PoE in, PoE out. So you could, I guess the theory is you power the LTE device and then back out of it to power the breadcrumb.
Hmm.
I guess you want to know that is that PoE suitable to do both of those? So if we're powering an LX or an ME4 or an LX5 or a Hawk or a Sparrow, uh, will that be able to compare, or are we going to have to run two PoEs?
Yes, uh, you'll want to look at your specific situation to make sure that the PoE that you have has enough power to push power to both of them. Um, but this PoE can handle 20, I'm sorry, this device can handle a PoE with 24 up to 56 volts. So a lot of range to handle. It's passive PoE, so keep that in
Passive.
mind.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. Okay.
and then the last thing is that if you had, for instance, let's say you have a let's say you have a Sparrow, and then you want to also add on this LTE device. Um, Max power out of a Sparrow, or I guess input into a Sparrow, peak I believe is like 14 watts, and then peak out of this device is 5 watts. So you need to make sure your PoE can handle 19 watts in total. Um, and that's just something you just want to check out on your individual setup. But your if your PoEs that you already have enough oomph in them, they should definitely be able to drive both pieces of equipment.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay.
Great. So I see a question here from Nora Michi. Do you want to come off of mute and ask your question, or do you want me to just read it? So this question is around homologations, or what regions and countries are currently supported by this particular product.
Okay. So right now the product is certified, I guess, in the US and Canada. We do have additional certifications that are pending. Um, I guess we are working on kind of prioritizing, the order at which we roll those out. So if there's demand for a particular region, let us know, and we can work on how we prioritize getting that to I guess a individual country. So that's kind of how we're going to start rolling through the areas this needs to go to.
Great. And then Justin Wyatt, please feel free to come off of mute and ask your question.
Sure. So one of the benefits that 3GPP style networks have is that they have this extremely comprehensive quality of service capability. So, we have the ability to differentiate traffic very well. We have guaranteed bitrate bearers. We have dedicated bearers. We can control things very finely in terms of who has access to the network and when with call admission control and those sorts of things. When I have a Rajant mesh over the top of something like an LTE network, what that LTE network is going to see is the tunnel that is connecting those devices together, that's passing the traffic. So I suppose my question is, when you do something like that, you lose a lot of that underlying capability unless there is specialized hooks either into the EPC or elsewhere, or you're doing something special in terms of the way that you're marking packets, and then you would need integration with the LTE network in terms of TFTs being applied end to end, etc. So I'd just like to know, have Rajant actually gone through this process? Are they talking to the 3GPP? Do you have integrations that then need to be done on the LTE side to make this sort of stuff work? Or are you more focused on the lower end of the market where people are not doing any of this, and you're just hoping to use this as an overlay?
Um, Boy, there's a lot I could unpack with it. Um, I guess I'll start with the so Radiant does have good deployments and good examples of this working with regular private and some public LTE setups. We are currently working with a few, I guess, um, uh, well, they're not carriers, but they're providers for the LTE setups, and they are helping us to validate how our equipment does work with the different setups that they provide. Um, our goal for that is to make sure that we can have some recommended best practices of how do you set up the eNodeB? B? How do you set up all the more than just firewalling and making sure our RPT packets go through, but we are working on some best practices on how you will set up a good, I guess the LTE core to make it as useful as possible. Um, you did highlight a couple of yeah, definitely key things that I guess the LTE networks are capable of. I can't say that we're going to be able to do all of those, but it's a list that we are chipping away at, and we're trying to make sure we have a good best practices that kind of do highlight what a minimum setup and then a more advanced or elegant setup would be as you're applying these, as you're installing raging equipment in and alongside some of the LTE components. I hope that helps.
Yeah, look, I suppose from my perspective, or from what I've seen deployed in real life, to be clear, I've deployed a lot of LTE networks.
Mhm.
So if you're dealing with a carrier, well, you're just going to get what you're given, right? Like most of the time, or at least that's the sort of like what happens in Australia. We we don't have carriers over here that are willing to change their configurations, etc.,
Yeah,
on their side for us.
they'll barely
And so
give
in
me a
most
static IP.
cases, yeah, and look, in most cases, networks being deployed then are private networks. So private networks, we have a lot more control. So yes, we could set up things any way we like. And so I actually see less use for this in private networks because we have all of those features. So until you can do those things, it makes it very difficult. But on a public network where we're just treated like anyone else, if you know what I mean, then this has a lot more merit because now I create my layer two tunneling straight away. Um, I'm not going to have control over the carrier in terms of where they place a trailer to provide coverage down into a pit, et cetera, et cetera. So I can see where, well, and also those carriers tend to also be the type of network where they have large throughput available because they've got plenty of spectrum to be able to deploy on. So then your backhauling on the LTE is more feasible because there's a lot more throughput available.
Yeah,
So yeah, I can see a use for the product. I see where it fits. Um, I was just trying to work out have you gone down the path of getting those more advanced features, and if that's not the case yet, well then that's great. And it is what it is. It fits where it fits, and we await to see when the next set of features comes, basically.
yeah. Well, and I don't pretend to have all the answers. Some of our, I guess, field engineers or sales engineers, they do have some additional things that might be relevant on the features. Um, but I might want to catch up with you some other time, Justin, too, with some of the things that you see as critical with these the private network setups.
Not a problem.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for some good feedback.
Well, excellent. That looks to be it for our questions. Um, Anything that you wanted to touch on, Andrew, before I kind of wrap things up for us?
Uh, Yeah, I think oh, I guess Gizzy just mentioned it here in the chat too. We do have a feature and benefits brochure. It's on our launch page for this, so do get a chance to review some of that. It should cover some of the content I said here, and then probably some more things that I forgot. Um, I think we did send out I guess a email blast to all the partners today and all the distributors. There should be links in there for the spec sheets. I mentioned the features and benefits. Just several pieces of content that we've been trying to create to make sure this is as informed as possible when something new comes out there. But I think that's about it.
Great, 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 great. Thank you, Andrew. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy schedules, whether it's morning, afternoon, or night for you. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule. We hope that you found the information that was presented to be useful and informative. Um, we feel that this is some pretty exciting technology and some, pretty exciting advancements, and it's going to add some wonderful options to the networks that you're currently deploying, as well as to the to the future networks that you will now have the ability to deploy now that this technology and functionality is available. So thank everyone for attending. Thanks everyone for your attention. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to your agent, contact sales engineer, reach out to us with any questions, and we will be sure to get them answered. And the questions that were presented, we will also be sure to get those questions along with answers out to everyone that is in attendance. And remember that information, data sheets, features and benefits are posted on our website and also in the partner portal. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Andrew, um, for um, for leading this, and thank you, Gizzy, and the marketing department for putting this together and producing it.
Yeah.
Good day, everyone.
Thank you all.